Good morning, here are developing stories. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has submitted 142 post-election reform recommendations to the National Assembly, with 8 requiring amendments to the 1999 Constitution or the Electoral Act 2022 ahead of the 2027 general elections. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu expressed satisfaction with the ongoing collaboration and the speed at which lawmakers are progressing these reforms, aiming for their enactment before the next polls. The recommendations address critical issues such as voters' accreditation, results transmission, and stronger sanctions for electoral offences, which were points of contention during the 2023 elections. Yakubu revealed that INEC recently held a retreat with the Joint Senate and House Committees on Electoral Reform in Lagos, followed by plans for public hearings by the National Assembly. After these consultations, a new electoral reform bill will be submitted to the President for assent. The chairman also addressed rumors about his removal, affirming his position as INEC and returning officer for presidential elections under the law. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved the renewal of the Group Life Assurance Scheme for federal government employees, including the President, Vice President, Ministers, Permanent Secretaries, civil servants, and personnel in Treasury-funded ministries and agencies for the 2025-2026 policy year. The scheme provides financial support for the families of deceased public servants, underscoring the administration's commitment to employee welfare. The policy covers key paramilitary and uniformed agencies such as the Nigerian Immigration Service, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigeria Correctional Service, Federal Fire Service, Federal Road Safety Corps, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, and the Office of the National Security Advisor, and is managed by 17 appointed insurance underwriters and operates on a no-premium, no-cover basis. Backed by a 17.3 billion budget allocation, the scheme aligns with the Pension Reform Act 2014, which mandates employers to maintain life insurance policies covering at least 3 times an employee's annual emolument. Head of Civil Service, Mrs. Didi Wilson-Jack, revealed that many public servants remain unaware of the scheme's benefits, prompting plans for a nationwide sensitization campaign to educate workers about the policy and its provisions. A faction of the pan-Yoruba socio-political group Afenifere has condemned the rise of a fake splinter groups claiming its name, warning that these pseudo-groups seek to distort its message and mislead Nigerians. The factions, led by Olaitan Ladipo and Justice Faloye, accused certain interests of sponsoring groups like the Afenifere Innovative Group and Afenifere Youth Group to undermine the authentic Afenifere brand, which stands for truth, justice, equity, and welfare. The faction described the proliferation of these fake groups as a deliberate ploy to silence and deceive the public, especially after failing to take over Afenifere's leadership following the burial of Pa Ayo Adebanjo. They emphasized that such splinter groups have existed since the organization's inception, but have always been short-lived due to Afenifere's strong adherence to its core principles. Despite the emergence of these groups, the faction affirms that the true Afenifere remains socio-political relevant and impactful as long as Nigerians uphold its foundational values. In a disturbing development, 231 Nigerian teenagers trafficked to Ghana were recently rescued and brought back to the country by the Nigerian government. Many of these vulnerable young girls reportedly fell prey to sexual exploitation, a dangerous path that exposed them to a range of health risks, notably the human papillomavirus (HPV). Omori Online Ngbeji in this report takes a look at the level of awareness on the virus in Nigeria, especially Ondo State, has HPV contributes to cervical cancer rates, the leading cause of cancer-related deaths among women in sub-Saharan Africa. The reports.
Many of the teenagers recently trapped by traffickers are allegedly exploited in the sex trade, a profession that carries a high risk of sexually transmitted infections, particularly the human papillomavirus (HPV), the most widespread STI globally. Unsurprisingly, Sub-Saharan Africa reports that highest HPV prevalence at 24%, followed by Eastern Europe at 21%. In Sub-Saharan Africa, HPV infection remains a serious public health concern due to its strong link with cervical cancer, a leading cause of death among women across the region. Osrc interviewed some female students to gauge their awareness.
The lining of the womb is often caused by using of chemicals on the vagina.
Were you given vaccine?
Yes, ma'am.
When and at what age?
Last session when I was in GS2 and when I was at the age of 12.
Are you aware of the virus called HPV, human papilloma virus?
No, ma'am.
You've not heard about it before?
No.
Okay. Have you taken any vaccine, even in this school?
Yes.
What was the
I don't remember the name.
Where was that?
I was in GSS3.
What class are you in?
SS1.
An esthetician and gynecologist, Dr. Wilson Adenikinju, highlighted the connection between HPV and the cervical cancer, as well as its prevention, management, and treatment.
Where this vaccine has been used judiciously, the risk of cervical cancer has been reduced drastically. This has been incorporated into the immunization schedule in the America and the United Kingdom and other facilities. We've started it in our environment. Hopefully, if properly done, the risk of this condition will also be reduced in our environment. We have it in almost all the health facilities, including primary health center. But what we are lacking is that the awareness. Most people does not even know that there is a screening for cervical cancer until they develop this condition and they will not present to this facility. The screenings were available in almost all the health facilities in Ondo State. Like in our center here in State Specialist Hospital Akure, the cervical screening is done every Wednesday.
A board member of the Ondo State Hospital Management Board, Mrs. Ariola Adamolekun, affirmed the state government's ongoing efforts at ensuring a future free of cervical health challenges for women.
There was a flag off of immunization of 8 to 14 years old girl. We went to secondary schools to go and meet them.